Good evening, everybody. Can I have everybody grab their seats, please? Mike Perkins, can you hear me in the cheap seats back there? Can you hear me in the cheap seats? Very good. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming. On behalf of Hampshire County EMS, I'd like y'all to shut up. I'm kidding. I'd like to welcome you all back to our annual awards banquet. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Matt Lemberg, Division Chief of EMS for Northampton Fire Rescue, as well as Secretary for the Hampshire County EMS organization. Thank you. The only reason I am up here is because Linda Manor wouldn't let Brian Rust out after 7 o'clock. And if you laughed at that, you're really old, like the older providers in this room. We did put all the old people together. So, before I go any further, Mike Rock did ask me to read a few recommendations from our attorney, so I do have to go into that. Number one, the views expressed by Matt Lemberg do not necessarily reflect the attitudes or opinions of Hampshire County EMS. And number two, if you are easily offended, please leave immediately. If not, hold on, we should have some fun. No, personally. If I do offend anyone tonight, and you get any grandiose ideas to treat me like Will Smith treated Chris Rock, please know that I will slap you back. And if I don't, my acquaintance, Mr. Stark from South Hadley, will kindly take care of it for me. No. Kidding aside, truly honored to be hosting this event, recognizing the outstanding professionalism and dedication of the EMS providers in this region. As I do not need to tell you, the past 2 years in EMS have been both physically and mentally exhausting. COVID-19 changed normal, everyday life. Businesses shut down. People learned to work from home. Schools went virtual, gatherings were limited, and masks became a staple to everyday life. However, and I did take this quote from an EMS website this morning, you gowned up, you rose to the challenge, you committed, you served, and you sacrificed. Make no mistake about it, you were the true heroes behind the masks. And as I stand here looking at all of your unmasked faces, I truly believe we were better off with the masks on. Sorry, Doc. Before we begin dinner, I would like to take just a moment to recognize some distinguished groups here tonight. Thank you. This event has not occurred for a number of years, and I would be remiss if I did not recognize the efforts of the Banquet and Awards Committee for all their hard work making tonight happen. If you are a member of the Banquet and Awards Committee, at this time I would ask you please to stand and be recognized. If you planned it, stand up. That's enough, they didn't work that hard. I'd also like to draw your attention to the centerpieces on your tables. I would thank Cooley Dickinson Hospital for their generous donation, which provided the centerpieces as well as the printing services for our awards tonight. So thank you, Cooley Dickinson Hospital. We have a few local and state elected officials in attendance tonight. Thank you for attending. And lastly, I would like to recognize all military personnel, active or retired, who are here in attendance tonight. Thank you for serving our great nation and preserving our freedoms. Without your service, we would not be here to gather this evening. I would also ask at this time if everyone could please rise so that we may observe a moment of silence honoring the brothers and sisters we lost in the fight against COVID-19. Thank you. If I could have Mike Rock, the president of Hampshire County EMS, join me at the podium to say a few words. We'll make sure you can hear him.
Thank you.
All right, I'm one of the few guys with a mask, and that's because my family just got hit last week with COVID, and I'm doing all right. So just trying to keep everyone else here safe. So yeah. So actually, I wrote a couple notes. but Matt actually just said half the stuff I was going to say, so thank you, Matt. Yeah. But yeah, all you guys are awesome. I just can't say enough how much you guys do for everybody. It's you know, it's all the kind of things that you do every day that you don't get awards for. That's the stuff that's truly appreciated. You guys help people all over the place all the time, and you know, sometimes it's a blessing, sometimes it's a curse, but in the end, it all ends up good for everybody. So you guys are unbelievable every day, not just for the awards tonight. These were just those outstanding moments that we could capture, and thank God you guys did what you did. Matt thanked everybody already, so I was going to thank everybody, but I thank everybody again. And I want to say a special thanks to the awards committee and the banquet committee, but a special thanks to Ashley Norris, because she, actually, where is she? She stepped up, Ashley. A special thanks to Ashley, because she went above and beyond helping out, getting this thing together, along with the banquet committee and the awards committee, and along with Sarah Burgess working with the hospital, making all this stuff happen. So definitely appreciate all of that. And unfortunately, I got to thank Matt Lemberg for stepping up and taking the mic, because I am not a public speaker.
I wasn't given a choice.
Yeah, it's true. He was elected when he wasn't looking. So, but thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming, and I hope you enjoy the night. Stay safe.
At this time, I do have a letter to share with you from Governor Charlie Baker. So, dear friends, on behalf of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito and I would like to welcome you to the Hampshire County Emergency Medical Services Public Safety Awards Night. For the past 40 years, Hampshire County EMS has played a vital role in supporting emergency services throughout the community by sponsoring annual training events and the annual Public Safety Awards Night. This award ceremony brings together and honors the police, firefighters, dispatchers, and EMS providers who provide care and safety to residents in all communities of Hampshire County. The commitment of all Hampshire County EMS providers to serving the residents of their communities is truly inspiring, and we congratulate all award recipients for their hard-earned achievement. Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito and I would like to thank all EMS providers in attendance tonight for their service to the public, and we'd like to thank all attendees for their support of these providers. Please accept our best wishes for an enjoyable ceremony. Sincerely, Governor Charles Baker and Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito. I have one more special presentation before we start dinner service, and I'm sure you're happy that I'm going to be done talking after that. Our Medical Control Director, Dr. Peter Morse, who was unfortunately unable to be in attendance this evening, has sent a video presentation for all of you. And as we've all become accustomed to seeing Dr. Morse over Zoom, this should fit right in. I've actually petitioned Deb at Western Mass EMS for Con Ed credits because we're sitting here with Peter and we can't leave the computer screens. I'll get to after. So hopefully we'll use it in lieu of the June M&M. So here's standby for a message for Dr. Morse.
Hello, all of you, and welcome to the celebration. I'm so sorry that I couldn't be there. I'm disappointed that I am on vacation this week and can't be there with you in person. But I do want to let you know that our community is so fortunate to have each and every one of you in the EMS community. You make a difference to the lives of our patients. There are the actual lives saved, but there are also countless symptoms that you make better on a day-to-day basis. There's the pain, discomfort, nausea, and fears and anxieties that you alleviate. It is appreciated by me and by countless patients. If they do not get a chance to tell you, it is definitely there. There is lots of gratitude, and we appreciate you and your hard efforts. Your work makes my job so much easier when a patient comes in with 2 IVs bundled up and you give me a clear history and med list. It saves me so much time and energy. Thanks. I appreciate you. There are also so many times where I hear, "Doc, this patient looks so much worse before we got there," or right when we got there. And I believe it. You make huge differences. You make patients better with early effective care. You save lives. Anyway, I'll stop talking. Go ahead, have a drink, enjoy the food, sample all the desserts. You put in lots of dedicated time and hard work, and now is the time to enjoy yourselves. Thank you, and happy EMS week, and now go celebrate. Take care, and thank you, thank you.
Maybe 4 credits there. Okay, enough from me. Please, everybody sit back, enjoy dinner service in good company. We'll be back after dinner for the presentation of awards. Each table, the staff will come up and direct your table towards the buffet, so thank you. If I could have everybody take your seats, please. We're going to get going with the awards portion of the banquet tonight. Bob, you ready? So I hope everybody enjoyed dinner, got enough to eat. Thank you to Myers Catering for putting on a wonderful meal. The Boylston Rooms for hosting us. A couple other thanks while we're at it. Highland Ambulance for being the main sponsor for the Hampshire County EMS Awards tonight. As I said, the Boylston Rooms and Myers Catering for the venue and the wonderful meal. Gregory's Pastries and the Forget-Me-Not Florist for our dessert and our centerpieces. And the eye in the sky, the man with the tech, Josh Shanley, for pictures and video. So a little bit about tonight, if you haven't been to an awards banquet before, we have both SAVE and Recognition Awards. SAVE, we generally is involved in patient care directly, whereas Recognition is a crew level recognition for the work done on scene. I will read a short snippet from each report and the award winners. I would ask that you all wait till the end of the call to come up, otherwise we'll be here till tomorrow. Because some of you write like children and it's going to take me a while to get through this. So first one we're going to start with is out of Williamsburg. Crews were dispatched to address for a car off the road with an unresponsive party. CPR was in progress prior to the arrival of fire and EMS. Upon arrival, there was a car noted to be off the side of the road. Minimal damage to vehicle, airbags deployed, no windshield. Williamsburg Fire, Mass State Police, and 2 sheriff's officers on scene. Williamsburg Fire actively doing compressions. They advised that 1 shock was delivered per defib. Sheriffs on scene state they drove by and saw the patient into the trees off the side of the road. They did find the patient unresponsive, pulseless, and apneic. She was pulled from the car and CPR was started. The patient is now found on the earth ground, unresponsive with agonal respirations. Very weak carotid pulse noted, no radial pulse. Placed on the monitor, found to be, you don't need to care about that. Carotid pulses were checked again, they remain present. Patient remains agonal respirations, OPA placed, BVM ventilation started. All ACLS maneuvers were in place. Inside the ambulance, vitals done as noted. Patient noted to be breathing on her own about 4 per minute. Yeah, you definitely don't want to know about that. IVs placed, 12 lead done, found to be in a right bundle branch. Frequent PVCs noted, some flip T's, mild elevation. Patient has pale, warm, dry skin and non-distended. Without the rapid application of CPR by sheriff's deputies and ALS involvement, this patient would not have survived. The patient was actually here tonight. She did apologize. She had to leave early. She wanted to meet the people, but you guys are all dirty and you all had COVID, so she didn't want to be here and get sick again. So I want to recognize from the Hampden County Sheriff's Department, Nicholas Husovsky and Ryan Kennedy. From the Highland Ambulance, Leah Doolittle, Kaylee Bach, and Kim Dresser. And from Williamsburg Fire, Jason Connell, Daryl Springman, Corey McGill, Alex Castle, Joshua LaPointe, what's your whole department there? Jake Lulick, Andre Barnes, Paul Sanderson, Richard Karowski, Robert LaPointe, Josh Connell, Daniel Stewart, Peter Korotev, and a partridge in a pear tree. Come on up and get your awards.
right here. Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you. That's probably everybody that take the whole stack.
We should have had the Jeopardy theme song keyed up.
If they come up and get their picture, then we're just going to hand them to the chief.
Richard, are we supposed to go back?
We've already got COVID.
Come out here. All you guys, come this way. You see me at all?
It's all right. We don't need to see you.
You might need to come over.
Seriously, Dr. Conway, I don't know how you did this so many years in a row. I really don't. Next call coming to us out of the city of Northampton. Engine 1A1. I'm sorry, Tom, I had to pick my own guys too. Engine 1A1 dispatched to the above address for a 6-year-old male patient who rolled his tractor over an embankment and is stuck underneath the tractor. Car 4 and Rescue 1 also responded due to entrapment. On scene, the patient was found under the tractor, next to the tractor in the snow at the bottom of an approximately 30-foot embankment. Crew from Engine 1 with the patient stated he was plowing when the tractor slipped and went over the edge of the hill, rolling multiple times on top of the patient. Patient states he remembers the entire incident and does not think he lost consciousness at any time. He stated every time he moves, he experienced excruciating pain in his chest and abdomen and called 911 after he realized he would not be able to get himself up. Patient stated his only medication is amlodipine for hypertension, has no allergies. He was found alert and oriented with a patent airway. He said it hurts every time he takes a breath. Good pulses, good CSM in all extremities, no obvious signs of trauma to the head or neck. And he was awake and alert. Extreme pain upon palpation in his center chest with paradoxical chest rise. If you need to know what that is, John Garrett will spell it for you later and explain it. Patient's abdomen was rigid and distended with obvious bruising. C-spine precautions were taken by crews. Patient was administered pain medication prior to moving to the scoop stretcher due to extreme pain. He was removed up the 30-foot embankment to the ambulance. IVs were started, chest decompression. Per med control, a second dose of pain medication for the patient. He was transported to Bay State Medical Center. On arrival, he was moved to the trauma room 2. He was moved to stretcher, and care and report were transported to, turned over to the nursing staff and medical staff at Bay State. This patient made a full recovery. He has called me on the regular basis to tell me how good of a job the crew did. So I would like to recognize from Northampton Fire Rescue, Daniel Nickerson, Ian Bigda, John Garapi, retired, Eric Toya, Andy Breen, Brett Gauger, Caleb Langer, and Dave Moret.
Best ride to the hospital.
Best ride to hospital. Everyone's made hand him to the civilian. Get my good side. You know it. Oh, we got another picture coming?
So next call again out of Northampton. Crews were dispatched to the Hockenham Meadows for cardiac arrest with a prolonged response. Patient was actually out on the ice. They had been fishing on the ice fishing on the Oxbow. Patient was approximately a quarter mile from where the vehicles could reach. Additional resources were requested by members on scene. Family member states they were heading out to go ice fishing. The son went ahead. When he looked back, his father-in-law was kneeling as if he was catching his breath and then collapsed, falling forward, hitting his face. Upon arrival, crews found a 62-year-old male in cardiac arrest, pulseless, breathless, cold to the touch. Well, they were ice fishing, go figure. ALS assessment, CPR continued by NPD on scene. Lucas device was applied. I'm sure Lucas would be everybody's firefighter of the year if he could be. Defibrillator pads, ventilations with bag valve, mask, high flow O2, ACLS procedures continued until arrival of additional resources. Patient was removed from the ice, carried approximately a quarter mile back to the ambulance. ACLS continued, at which point the patient converted into a VTAC, shocked at 300, back into sinus. Pulses were present. Enough epinephrine to wake up a small tomato was administered to this patient. 12 lead was obtained. Transported patient to Bay State trauma room. Care turned over. Patient did not become responsive. Unfortunately, patient did pass away, but recognition for this call goes to the following from Northampton Fire Rescue: Carol Ledoux, Ryan Sear, Steve Hall, Brian Davis, Caleb Langer, Dustin Culver, Mark Curtin, Mike Pulowski, Andy Pelis, and Stephen Oss. Where's the rest of your crew?
Holy cow! That's hard to believe. We were just there. You can believe it or not.
Mark can't even spell EMS.
2 calls in 3 years.
Yeah, okay. We'll mark that one down. Got that one by the awards committee. So, the next call, a little bit closer to home still, Northampton Fire. Units were dispatched to the above address for 32-year-old female strangulation and cardiac arrest. Patient sustained a trauma while out working with power equipment in her yard and was strangled between the power equipment and a fence line. Witnesses on scene: she was in her yard aerating her lawn. Neighbor states they heard screaming. They went outside approximately 3 to 4 minutes later and found the patient pinned between the apparatus and a fence. They state the aerator was in gear, pushing against the fence, causing strangulation. Patient was freed by neighbors and found to be in cardiac arrest. 911 was called, CPR instructions given. Performed for approximately 2 minutes and patient began breathing on her own. Patient with pulses. Patient remained unresponsive, taken no meds, no allergies, no history. Aerator was shut off and moved away from the patient upon EMS arrival. She was found supine on the ground, unresponsive. C-spine precautions were taken. Bag valve, mask, ventilations were assisted. Patient was able to maintain her own airway. Excuse me. She was moved to the stretcher into A1. Vitals were reassessed. Excuse me. Needle decompression was performed due to chest injury, second intercostal space, midclavicular. Everybody knows where that is. If you're not, you shouldn't be here. Confirmed rush of air, so patient's vitals immediately improved. Capnography was good. Blood pressure stayed in the 90s. Decompression tubing secured. Patient was transported ALS to Bay State, and where she recovered after a long downtime. I do need to make you aware that this patient is the daughter-in-law of a Northampton Fire captain, so that added a little bit of haste to the scene. And just so everybody knows, she did survive, and she was married in August. So. Being recognized for this call: Tim Putnam, Matt Drennan, Matt Superba, and William Schutze. Thanks. I got a South Hadley one time. We good? We good? Okay, good. Crews were dispatched to the above address for a 25-year-old female with abdominal pain. Female had been in labor since 1000 hours on Sunday and has one other child born 5 years previous with no complications. About 5 minutes being on scene, patient was born vaginally 23 weeks and 5 days. Mother was seeing their doctor yesterday where she found out the sex of the child, and the placenta was not fully developed, but no other complications. Once delivered, the preterm newborn let out a little squeal, and arms and legs had some movement. Patient had agonal respirations. Blow by O2 was provided. Excuse me. Umbilical cord, pulse, and heart rate were auscultated and palpated at a rate of 110 beats per minute. Cord was clamped and cut approximately 4 inches from patient. Patient is not fully developed yet. Eyes not open, nares not open, ears not open. Mouth open and suction provided with bulb syringe. Transported to Bay State Medical Center, West and Women's, with mom in the ambulance as well. Vitals assessed 5 minutes of no change. APGAR score at 1 in 5 minutes was 5. Muscle tone, respiratory rate, heart rate, and color. Priority 1 called to Weston to give report. Patient carried to Weston Women's by medic, where she was greeted by a whole team of nurses and doctors. I like that, whole team. I love it. Report and care given to team. Mother and baby turned over to Bay State Medical Center personnel. Being recognized for this call, Jessica Washington, Alan Torrey, and Danielle Roy. Congratulations.
Thank you. We gotta play this game.
Back to Northampton. Crews were dispatched for an unknown man down in cardiac arrest outside the Coca-Cola distribution center. On scene, patient found lying supine with blood on the left side of his face. Engine 1 crew in the process of applying LP15 and establishing IO. NPD was performing manual compressions. Witness states the patient was outside taking a break and states he watched him collapse and strike his face. The first response team from the facility was activated, and once they arrived, they started to perform CPR and applied their AED. One shock was delivered via AED just as Engine 1 crew had arrived. Witness states the patient recently recovered from COVID-19 and just returned to work. Witness states that they are unsure if the patient had any complaints prior to the event. No additional past medical history, meds, or allergies are available. ACLS in progress by crews on scene. Epi given. Contacted Bay State Medical Center for control due to possible trauma as well, with the STEMI team as well. Signature for MedCon obtained for pain medications. MedCon signature was obtained at CDH. Additional fentanyl, 100 megs drawn up. Patient did not require it. Patient was shocked several times. I don't have the amount here, it's a large number. Patient was shocked several times, extricated and transported to Bay State Medical Center, where he called me the next day asking where his wallet and keys were. So, from Northampton Fire, Jeff Jasinski, Dustin Culver, Patrick Davis, and Steve Hall. Is anybody actually?
This was originally when
Okay. Next call's out of Worthington. I had to look it up on a map. Sorry, Bob. I know. So crews were dispatched to the address for a 65-year-old male party who fell down the stairs unresponsive, possibly not breathing. Upgrade en route. Patient not breathing. Compression instructions have been given. First responders on scene initially report positive for cardiac arrest. Then update patient has pulse and breathing. They ask first responders to assess patient trauma and consider helicopter as needed. Helicopter requested, but we know, unable to fly. The weather was a little off. It was snowing in Boston. They couldn't come out here. Surgical masks and gloves were worn. Unable to get the patient's temp. Patient was efebrile. Patient supine, the C-spine being held by Worthington Fire Department. Patient's unresponsive, pulse of 90, snoring respirations. Family states the patient was walking down the stairs and 2 or 3 stairs just fell forward, hitting his head on the wall and falling to the ground. In the ambulance, vital signs are recorded, airways replaced, GCS of 4. Decision made to transport to Bay State for trauma activation. During transport, patient appeared to tense up and reach for his face, began contracting and doing other things you don't need to know about. OPA was removed, CDH MedCon contacted for consult, advised that vital signs remain stable, continue to Bay State. Patient having full body contractions, posturing, O2 dropped, board repositioned, order manage airway, and began ventilation with BBM. Patient was administered medications, transported to Bay State, continue to assist airway by ventilations. Care turned over to Bay State Trauma Team without further incident or change. Being recognized from Worthington Fire as well as Hilltown Ambulance. Mike Don Diego, Paul Cena, Robert Ranke, and Angela Mulcairn. So Parent Worthington doesn't know where East Hampton is either, so. Thank you. No, that's the other one. Okay, let's head to East Hampton for a little while. That sounds good. Dispatch the above address in East Hampton for the female under 70s, chief complaint, difficulty breathing. Patient's family states that the patient began having chest cold for the last few days with no relief from it. Patient started to have difficulty breathing. Family called 911. Patient was found sitting on the couch in the living room, alert and oriented. Patient was able to talk to EMS. Patient looked to have blue lips and labored breathing. Lung sounds were taken. Patient was placed on CPAP, which brought her O2 up to 74. She showed some signs of relief. Patient started to become claustrophobic, took off the CPAP, causing her decline in status, was unwilling to listen to EMS and keep the CPAP on. That happens, yep. Patient was declining in status. It was the patient's best interest to move the ambulance to provide care. Patient was transferred over to the stair chair and secured with seatbelts. Patient still had a pulse, is breathing, shallow at 14 per minute. She then transferred to the stair chair to the cot, secured with rails. Patient stopped breathing, and BVM and OPA was used to assist in breathing. Once the patient was placed on the monitor, pulse was checked. Noted the patient had gone into cardiac arrest. CPR started, ACLS protocols initiated. I like that, nice and short. ACLS initiated. In total, patient received 4 rounds of epi, ACLS protocol. Following that, patient received a 7.5 tube, measured, confirmed with capnography. Lung sounds and a visual patient received, misting of the tube. NG tube was placed, IO was attempted with success, left humeral head, monitor was applied, asystole noted. Patient was monitored throughout transport with some improvement in condition before entering the ED-EMS. Patient was able to regain pulses and ROSC in the field. Once the CDH patient was moved over to a stretcher, care was turned over to the nursing staff and report given. Being recognized from East Hampton Fire Department, I apologize if I butcher your names. Kevin Truong, Drew Nalawansky, Nicholas Tillman, and Kevin Benson. Chief Norris, could you come up here and receive those awards? Staying in East Hampton. Dispatch to the address note, a 57-year-old male found unresponsive after falling off a ladder. Upon arrival, PD states that the patient was unresponsive when they arrived. They did CPR for a minute before EMS arrival. Sister stated she found the patient outside on the ground about 10 minutes ago. She believes that he was at the top of the ladder on the roof when he fell. However, the fall was unwitnessed. She performed mouth-to-mouth with no compressions until PD arrived. Patient has a history of MS. A few days ago, patient went to urgent care for chest pain. However, nothing was found. Further info unavailable at the time of call. PD directed to perform compressions, monitor pads placed, patient defibrillated 200 joules, compressions resumed, NPA airways placed, IO established. Patient noted to have reached ROSC with strong carotid as well as radial pulses and a sinus tach on the monitor with good blood pressure. IVs established, 12 lead taken, patient transported to Bay State, care transferred to the ER staff there. Being recognized from East Hampton Fire, Dean Reel, Sam Schrader, Dave Nalawansky, and Dave Saffron. Hey, wait, I'm not done. Guys are jumping the gun on me. And from East Hampton Police, Officer Matthew Rood, Officer Robert Puska, Officer Todd Joseph, and Detective Andrew Bolio. Thank you, guys. Okay, next call coming out of Granby, Massachusetts. Crews responded for a male down, possible seizure with agonal breathing. Upon arrival on scene, the patient was on the floor of the home, cyanotic and not breathing. CPR was initiated. defib pads placed. Bystander stated the patient had a history of seizure. Today he came over to visit him. They were walking into the kitchen when the patient went down on the floor and was gasping for air. Bystander called 911, and after 2 minutes of CPR, the monitor was VFib. Patient was shocked at 200 joules. Rhythm changed to irregular at 40. Positive for pulses. Continue to assist with respirations. Pupils are pinpoint. 2 milligrams of Narcan given. Change in dilation. Patient was stimulated. Patient with posture and decorticate. 66-year-old male on scene. BSI monitor, VFib shock to irregular bradycardia and sinus tach, non-diagnostic 12 lead, IVs placed, Narcan administered, blood sugars taken. Placed patient on scoop to remove from the home, placed in stretcher, South Hadley District 2, assisted for transport to ED, continued monitor and transfer patient to RN at the ED. Being recognized for this call, Micheline Turgeon, I'm going to kill this name, Tyler Vaughn, Granby Police, we have Eric Jorgensen, Alan Brooks. Staying in Granby, units dispatched for a 62-year-old male with a blocked tracheostomy and difficulty breathing upon arrival. Patient found supine in the floor in his bedroom, being ventilated with bag valve mask via stoma by Officer Hill. Patient was unresponsive in severe respiratory distress. Informed patient had been in respiratory arrest upon arrival by GPD. After patient was intubated through stoma, patient became responsive and was able to be ventilated through a tube. Patient was unable to maintain eye contact to attempt communication with EMS on scene. After patient improved, he was able to tell us using an external device that he's had a device in his trach that allows him to talk, and he's worried that it misplaced. BSI precautions were taken by crews on scene. Again, patient intubated on scene by masked paramedics. Assisted day 1 crew. Patient successfully ventilated through tube with BBM hooked up. Lung sounds assessed. Tube found to be placed correctly. The breath sounds. After approximately 5 minutes of ventilation, patient able to sit upright with assistance and began to breathe on their own with occasional ventilatory assistance with BVM attached and connected O2. Ludlow Fire paramedics arrived to scene at this time and care was transferred to the crew. Patient assisted to Ludlow stair chair to be extricated from the house and was further transferred to Ludlow stretcher outside. Ludlow EMS took control of patient and transported patient to the hospital. Being recognized, Kendall Hill, Nicole Gareffi, and Maria Primakov. More names to butcher. All right. Okay. And we're going to stay in Granby for one more. Miss, you getting your workout tonight. Come on up. You might as well just come on up now because you're on the call too. Crews responded for a male not breathing. Starting bystander CPR. Family has started CPR until GPD arrived about 05:08 and placed AED with 2 shocks and continued CPR. Family stated patient was fine. He got up, showered, and had breakfast when his wife heard gurgling from the other room and found patient on the floor. Notified family member upstairs who's CPR trained, and they started CPR and called 911. Found patient on the floor, CPR in progress with good BVM by GPD in South Hadley District 2. Noted bleeding and vomit around the mouth and a laceration under his chin. Cleared the airway, OPA was placed, difficult patient cleansed down. Crew was having difficulty with airway bagging patient. Patient placed also an NPA was easier. AED stated no shock advised. CPR after, monitor has PEA continued. CPR after a few rounds of CPR. Man, you guys are like 2-year-olds. CPR patient was in a VTAC without a pulse, changed to VFib shock 200, gave amio, continued CPR for 2 minutes with pulses returned. Considered causes. When patient changed to VFib shock at 300, epi given again, CPR for 2 minutes. Patient regained pulses. Transfer patient via stretcher to backboard, continue monitor for changes, transport to Holyoke Medical, patient care, transferred to hospital, nurse, and doctor in the ED. Being recognized, Maria Primakov and Micheline Turgeon. As well as Granby police officers Chad Kader and James White. said 5. I saw that. I read it. It said 5. Back to East Hampton. Chief, I really hope none of these guys are up here because I want to see you come up here again. So, crews were dispatched to the note address for a 31-year-old female who is currently in labor and crowning. Patient states she is full term and approximately 5 minutes ago her water broke. Patient states that she called her doctor and doctor stated it was most likely not her water that broke and that it was urine. Yeah, how'd that turn out? Patient stated that approximately 5 minutes after her water broke, she began to have the urge to push. At this time, patient stated she positioned herself on her back on top of the stairs and noticed crowning. At this time, patient stated she had no complications during pregnancy and this is her second successful birth. Patient did state she was taking prenatal vitamins as well as was on methadone. Keith, it gets a little graphic from here. You still want me to read this? You okay? Patient found laying supine at the top of the stairs, CAO times 4, mild distress, full and appropriate sentences, skin pink, warm, dry, vital signs taken. States second pregnancy with 1 successful pregnancy prior. Patients accompanied by her husband. At this time, the evaluation revealed mild crowning of baby's head. At the time, preparations were put into place to facilitate delivery as delivery was imminent. OB kit brought in to mother's side as well as monitor. Towel was placed, mother. This time, vital signs taken on mom within normal limits. Mom was advised to continue pushing. With second push, baby exited mother and was slowly caressed by EMS personnel in the towel and vigorously dried. With a few seconds, baby began crying. Initial APGAR score of 7. Wrapped in dry towels and blankets, placed into mom's arms, clamps placed, umbilical cord cut. Baby was carried to the ambulance by EMS personnel. Heat was put on. Care of mother continued. Vital signs taken. Patient no urge to deliver. After birth, placenta at the time. Patient was able to take a few steps to gurney and placed into a position of comfort. Once in the back of the ambulance, patient placed on monitor, which revealed sinus attack, transported to Bay State Medical Center without further findings or complications. Being recognized for this call: Dave Nelowansky, Kyle Gagnon, Sam Schrader, Dave Saffron, Sandy Kraus, and Brennan Struthers. Next call, heading back to Northampton. Crews dispatched to a trench collapse with reports of possible injured party. Upon arrival, found a 32-year-old female oriented lying supine on top of the sheet of plywood at the bottom of a trench after it collapsed on her while she was working. Co-workers reported the patient was completely covered with dirt, but they were able to quickly clear the dirt from around her head to allow her to breathe before digging her all the way out beneath the dirt. Patient reports she remembers the event, states that she passed out once she was pulled out of the dirt. She's complaining of hurting all over with more pain concentrated on her left side and mid-thoracic spine. Patient is also breathing rapidly and complaining of difficulty breathing. No external bleeding, no initially obvious deformity or major external injury. Patient was still at the bottom of the trench, which had dirt walls that were underslung and appeared to be present, possibly of subsequent collapse, endangering patient and rescuers. Initial vitals were obtained while moving Stokes basket to patient. Initial lung sounds were clear. Patient was secured to backboard, lifted onto the Stokes basket where she was secured. Patient extricated from the trench, and she was moved to the stretcher where she was transferred using the backboard being loaded into the ambulance. C-collar placed for mobilization. Spontaneous movement all extremities, positive CSMs times 4, rapid and shallow breathing with noted diminished lung sounds on the left side, abdomen tender in all quadrants and no distension. Palpable masses or bruising, extremities intact, reported left shoulder and arm pain, movement but no palpable deformities. Skin was soiled with dirt. Patient reports chest pain more concentrated on her left side, no numbness or tingling, no visual or auditory disturbances, no nausea, vomiting. Placed on monitor, IV is established, fluid bolus is given, 50 mg of fentanyl for pain. Excuse me. Transported to Bay State due to trauma. Continued to complain of difficulty breathing, had a drop in SpO2, low 80s, progressively diminishing lung sounds on the left side. Confirmed by 2 separate paramedics, site was cleared and made aseptic, and a needle decompression was performed. Air was noted to escape following needle decompression. SpO2 improved immediately and able to gain good waveform. Patient transported to Bay State Medical Center. Medical control contacted for more pain medication. Prior to arrival at Bay State, blood was noted to be coming out of the decompression site. Upon arrival at Bay State, she lifted to trauma room. Care turned over to trauma. Patient was being seen by trauma team physicians. Being recognized for this call: Matthew Burrell, Justin Brush, Megan Pike, Brian Davis, Keith Healy, Jared Kaika, and Matt Marchand. Say we can give Keith an extra round of applause. He has 2 weeks to go and he's retiring after a long career, so thank you. Not that much. You don't got to clap that much. It's okay. So next one, we're coming to Belchertown. Well, it's the first. We haven't seen Belchertown yet tonight. Dispatch to the area 300 Amherst Road for reports of an unconscious male party that crashed a motor vehicle said to have gone unresponsive prior to the crash. Upon arrival, initial responder made contact with the patient. Backup units were dispatched. And replaced the 54-year-old male found lying supine directly outside of his vehicle, unresponsive. There are 3 bystanders on the scene, one of which was his daughter, who was witness to the event. She states that she was front seat passenger and he was being told by her dad that he was not feeling well prior to the incident. As they were traveling eastbound, he appeared to have lost consciousness. The vehicle coasted along the guardrail where the patient's daughter gained control of the vehicle and stopped it without significant collision, eliminating suspicion for traumatic injuries. 2 other bystanders report the patient was found unresponsive and assisted him to the ground from the vehicle. Patient is found pulseless and in agonal breathing. Pupils are constricted and non-reactive to light. GCS of 3. Patient's skin cool, pale, and clammy. Chest exposed and continuous chest compressions started. Bystanders asked if they were willing to assist and agreed to continuous chest compressions while the cardiac monitor is set up. Defib pads are placed. Initial rhythm was interpreted as a VFib. Shock was delivered at 360. Chest compressions were immediately resumed. After the initial shock, second paramedic arrived. Compressions were withheld briefly, and it was discovered that the patient had a strong carotid pulse and the rhythm appeared to be uncontrolled AFib. The patient was secured to a spine board and loaded into the ambulance. Continuous assessment, ACLS in progress. Prior to transport, unit remained on scene to secure additional driver. During this time, patient was placed on O2 IV monitor. IV attempt was, during transport, medical control was contacted by CMED for orders to facilitate intubation. Agreed upon medications for intubation. Orders were also requested for continuous sedation should the patient begin bucking the tube. ETT was performed and could not determine the presence of absence of sounds oscillated. Further, the patient was quite anterior. Anatomy and visualization proved difficult. Patient was extubated and airway was secured with an alternate King LT size 5. Ventilations were coached to a slower, more regulated rate and rhythm. Serial 12 lead EKGs were recorded. Patient was transported to the hospital, remaining uncontrolled AFib. Blood pressures were unreliable due to posturing. Patient arrived at Bay State Medical Center without incident. Care was transferred to the code team. Being recognized: Josh Barber, Dan Driscoll, Jeff Hoffey. Put in some extra shirts here. Dennis Fitzgerald and Lauren Bach. Back to Northampton. Crews were dispatched to the area 68 Hatfield Street for a 71-year-old female MVC with cardiac arrest. Upon arrival, patient found laying on ground, NPD performing CPR. Bystanders said the patient appeared to have already been unresponsive prior to crashing into the telephone pole. Upon initial evaluation, patient had a pulse with agonal breathing, 4 to 6 breaths per minute. She secured patient in the stretcher, assisted breathing with bag valve. VFib on the monitor without a pulse, CPR initiated. shocked at 200 joules, continued CPR with ventilations. IO was placed, medications administered. Patient did not appear to have any obvious signs of trauma. C-collar considered, but not placed due to interference with ventilations. 18 gauges IV established. Patient remained unresponsive without any purposeful movement. Continued assisting ventilations with a BVM and started transport to CDH. Monitored patient en route without any changes. Care transfer to CDH room 2. Report given to docs on scene. Not being written here, but prior to arrival of Northampton and fire and police units, 2 bystanders had pulled the woman out of her car and begun CPR. This woman did make a recovery, but was refusing all further cardiac care, so I do not have any further follow-up, but she did walk out of the hospital. So being recognized from Northampton Fire, Colleen Ruthier, Tyler Halleck, Hugh Parker, and Benjamin Miller. And for assisting as bystanders, Linda Lazensky, an RN, and Jake Lulick from Goshen, Chesterfield, Cummington, Plainfield, Williamsburg Fire. So are you. Jake, I'll take you. Sure you don't want to do it?
I can do it.
No, I got it. Okay, the next call. Mike's going to feed me my lines here because I don't have a run report on this one. So this call is coming out of the Cummington Fair for a cardiac arrest. Officers on scene found patient down. I don't have much information. CPR was started. Highland ambulance activated on scene. Bystanders from multiple emergency services in the area began performing CPR. Fairgrounds personnel, also retired firefighters, began CPR as well. So being recognized for this save, Ashley Norris, Robert Tomaskowitz, Robert Shear, Peter Fisher, Steve Emerson, Kaylee Bach, and Drew Morse. I've just been informed the gentleman was talking to the crew before they got to Bay State. You got some more.
Hey.
This is Bob. This is Hadley, right? Hadley. Next one comes to us from the town of Hadley. Crews were dispatched to the above address for a reported patient with heat stroke. While en route, EMS was updated with the fact that pre-arrival instructions for CPR were being given. Well, that went sideways quick. On arrival at the residence, the patient's wife was performing hands-only CPR, stated that her husband came in from the garage when he had been working on his boat, stating that he was not feeling well. She indicated that at some point he ended up on the floor and became unresponsive. Stated patient's history of meds is listed in the report, and there was no known drug allergy. 65-year-old male found on the kitchen floor with bystander CPR in progress, airway clear, breathing absent. Patient did not have carotid pulses. Cyanotic monitor showed a slow PEA on the monitor through defibrillator pads. Patient did not appear to have any injuries and had voided prior to our arrival. Primary and secondary assessments throughout the call. Full ACL procedures in place. Epi administered through an IO. CPR continued by HFD personnel as they arrived on scene. Amherst Fire Department A1 arrived on scene and accompanied this unit to the hospital as a double medic unit. Patient was placed on a scoop and secured, determined to have a strong carotid pulse and low blood pressure, so dopamine initiated. Patient was extricated cot in the front lawn, secured, then moved to the ambulance. Patient did not have any purposeful movement for EMS, but did maintain respiration and blood pressure remainder of the transport. Report was given to CDH personnel via radio recorded line on arrival at room 1 to RN and MD. Patient moved to bed in room 1. Being recognized for this call. From Hadley Fire, Nick McKenna. From Hadley Police, Jacob Laughlin. From Action EMS, Dave Spafford and Dwight Gregor. From Amherst Fire, Tom Valley, Kaylin Valavane, and Cassie Cody.
Each one of these here can be separate. When we get to this one here. Yeah. That's for Northampton Control. Okay. After this one, that one's done separate. Separate, but just read that. When you get to the next one, you have to start reading the names off of here. Okay. The Lifestar, they're not here, but you have to read them off because there has no actual certificate with them. Each one on the top has a certificate and then the proclamation. Do we want Representative Jerry handing out the statement? Sure.
Okay, I'm going to attempt to get through this one because it just got explained to me as well. And you can see it's a small paramedic textbook here. This application for award was submitted by Cummington Fire Rescue on behalf of all participating agencies involved of an incident on July 27th of 2020. And anybody from Cummington, I apologize if I leave any detail of this out. Bernie wrote a very, very detailed report. So if I miss anybody, don't worry, it's up here, it's in the pile. I promise you. Motion to accept, I hear it. On July 27, 2020, Cummington Fire Rescue Highland Ambulance were told to respond.
Still on their way to the hospital?
They're still coming, yeah. They were told to respond to the rest area near Kings Corner along Berkshire Trail for a 50-year-old male who had fallen and reported as conscious and breathing. Patient fell between 10 and 30 feet. Serious bleeding noted, not known if he's completely alert. Injury to the head. Caller reports the fall was in the area approximately 3/4 of a mile out from Route 9 where the patient was located, and there was no cell service, so he had to make his way all the way back to Route 9 to make the phone call. Units from Cummington and Highland Ambulance have been immediately dispatched and were on scene, Route 9. But as stated before, 3/4 of a mile from the victim. Fall occurred in a remote section of town where the east... Yeah, that's geography, you don't need that. The only access to the location is by foot, and after climbing down from Route 9, 40 to 50 rock wall. Yep. Patient found to have severe bruising to his right cheek and bleeding from both ears. Trailheads was used to gain access to the general area where the patient was. At this point, Cummington X2 grabbed the jump kit and made his way to the patient prior to everyone. Highland Ambulance crews were preparing their equipment for the same journey. What seemed like Attorney X2 called for the more exact location. Patient weight of around 180 pounds, had fallen approximately 30 feet from the top of the ledge onto the rocks below, face and chest first. Highland Ambulance immediately requested life flight. Chesterfield, a lot of C's up in that area, Chesterfield, Cummington. Cummington X1, considering the weather, general location of the incident, requested mutual aid from Goshen, Chesterfield, and Plainfield for more staffing. Narrow, steep configuration of the trail, rescues could only carry the litter from each end with no side assistance due to how narrow the trail was. At approximately 4:30, paramedic or portable 18 advised a full secondary survey of the patient. 18 requested Lifestar staff to the scene in Swift River once Lifestar landed at the designated landing site, approximately 1 mile away. Crews from Chesterfield set up the landing zone and staging area on Route 9. Initial responders on scene requesting more gear from paramedics en route. Approximately 18 volunteers carried the patient 3/4 of a mile back to the area of the ambulance, and they did need to, again, traverse the 40 to 50 foot ledge. Extrication was determined complete at 17:22 hours. Patient initial injuries: fractured jaw, pneumothorax, ruptured diaphragm, and splenic tear. Being nominated for SAVE Awards, and again, in no particular order: Ashley Norris, Mary Ellen McQueston, John Schwager, and Kaylee Bach from Highland Ambulance. Also for a SAVE Award from Plainfield Fire, Captain Rob Shear. Hey, here, good song. Bike, rock. And also for a SAVE Award, coming to next to Assistant Chief Denny Forgy. Being nominated for recognition awards: from Chesterfield Fire, Captain Alex Cassell, Lieutenant Zach Hughes. From Plainfield Fire, Chief Dave Alford, Andy Stevens, and Debbie Stevens. From Goshen Fire, Chief Cameron Lacey, Chief Sue Labrie, retired, and Kim Dresser. Bob Labrie, Monica Navieu, Steve Estelle, Hannah Labrie, River Williams, Wes Williams, and Dylan Navieu. From Cummington Fire, Chief Adam Dragon, Firefighter Michael Cunningham, Conrad Liebenow, Bernie Forgy. From Northampton Control, Mike Perkins, Kelly Wainscott, Karna Pease, and Kendra Ouimet. From Lifestar, Jeff Hart and Kyle Fogno. Good luck. He tried to get me to send those to everybody. He can do it.
Thanks, guys. Wow, you guys cleared the room. Yeah, that was everywhere. That was good. We need a bigger room.
I was 20 miles away, that's why I'm making sure.
Wait, do you want to do that after? Do you want to do that after?
That's a good idea.
Yep.
Who's watching the Hills tonight?
Our kids.
Yeah, but still gotta do years of service. Oh, yeah. Can I have the list? Yep. Is he really, or are you setting him up? Okay. Okay, so that was the award nominations part of the program tonight. So thank you all very much. The other part of this is recognizing people that for their years of service in EMS. So we do have years of service awards. I know it's been a couple years since we've done a banquet, so these are the numbers we have for now. The chiefs will update them in the future so that we'll have more accurate, but these are as close as we can get right now. So we'll start with the 5-year pins. If you're here and you hear your name, come on up and get your certificate. Your pins will be sent to you once we get them in stock, okay? So getting their 5-year recognition for EMS. Daniel Martin, Daniel Schott, Matthew Drennan, Matthew Wicklund, Joe Mancino, Tyler Halleck, Megan Pike, Lisa Hoffey, Steven Sengabush, Matt Tolpa, Kevin Van Zant, Kaylee Bach, Leah Doolittle, Liam Plasick, and Trevor Meservey. I wouldn't leave yet. Chris is going to do our closing remarks, and I really want to hear him talk too. Being recognized for their 10-years of service: Melissa Stark, Jason Rushford, Robert Hayes, Ben Miller, John Schweiger, Sean Duma, Ethan Seacard, Matt Tudrin, Brian Davis, Jeff Jasinski, Pat Davis, Matt Burrell, John Busquet, Ian Bigda, Eric Toya, Hannah Eisenstein, Ellen DuPont, Debbie Stevens, Robert Van Zant, Jeff Hoffey, Dan Driscoll, Josh Barber, Luciano Dantas, Ryan Bateman, and Ashley Norris, and Greg Owen. Babies. Guys, take the ones with your names on it. 15 years of service: Bob Flaherty, Alan Torrey, Andrew Peelis, Steve Vanass, Caleb Langer, Natalie Stolmeyer, Adam Martin, Keith Darnold, Dustin Culver, Kara Ledoux, Dave Moret, Jim Mulcairn, Colleen Ruthier, Kevin Gerard, Matt Rivas, Ernest Flory, James Beauregard, Robert Kaiula, Jim Robinson, and Kyle Dragon. Being recognized for 20 years in EMS: Carrie Flaherty, John Davin, Matt Lemberg, Andy Breen, Keith Healy, Mike Hatch, William Schutze, Matt Superba, Wendy Bryant, Daryl Springman, Brett Gauger, Jared Kaika, Rob Shear, Scott Chapman, and Kate Rivest. Being recognized for 25 years in EMS: Sean Denkevich, John Moriarty, Dennis Nazaro, Sean Crimmins, Bill Millen, and Larry Therian. Everybody from this point up, it's probably past their bedtime. That's probably why they're not here. Hey, when you were standing up here, you did it too. Being recognized for 30 years in EMS, the people that have their EMT numbers in Roman numerals: Mark Curtin, Steve Hall, and John Ingram. feel like we're in the Olympics now. We're down to gold, silver, and bronze here. There's 3 names left on this list, and damn, they got a lot of years. Coming in at 35 years of service in EMS, from Highland Ambulance, Mary Ellen McQueston. I believe she started in Pittsfield, Chief.
That'd be Plainfield.
We'll shoot the difference. It's in the middle. And ends with a field. Okay, silver medalist in the Years of EMS Service Award from Plainfield Fire with 40 years of service, Dave Albert. Congratulations, Dave. And I don't believe he's here tonight, but being recognized for 50 years of service to EMS, someone who's probably taught pretty much everyone in this room except for Ray Conway, because Ray's older than he is. It's truly remarkable to see this number next to anybody's name and do this job for so long. But being recognized for 50 years of service tonight is Robert Moore. So that concludes the awards presentation for tonight. Bob Flaherty said I couldn't get this done before 9 o'clock, and man, we rolled through it, didn't we? So, excellent job to everyone. I'm so glad we were able to put this back together. I hope everybody's had a great time. I think the bar is open until 9 o'clock. Am I wrong? Or?
Did you say open bar on you?
No. Chris Norris, East Hampton. Oh, that's right, the chair. Thank you, sir. Before you leave, everyone check under the chairs that you're... Before everybody leaves, and I'm interrupted again, everybody check the bottom of your chairs. There's a sticker on one of them. You will win the centerpiece. Why does it not surprise me that Eric Toya brought extra stickers just to take them home? Ladies and gentlemen, before we leave tonight, I want to have one more speaker come up. He's the host fire chief for the event tonight. Chief Chris Norris would like to say a few words.
All right, real quick. I know everyone wants to get out of here, but just real quick before people start making their way out. Number one, as Matt Lemberg kind of alluded to, thank you so much for everyone and all you do over the years. We were talking over on the side there. This is the first time since 2017 that we've had this event. And when you look at EMS in Hampshire County, this certainly is a reflection of how strong EMS is in Hampshire County. You have police, fire, EMS, dispatch, our sheriffs from Hamden County, our hospital personnel. Looking around this room, Dr. Conway and Lisa, we can't thank you enough for over the years. Deb Clapp, Tor, Sarah. We have State Rep Dan Carey here with us tonight. The continued advocacy across this county continues to be immense. And we just wanted to bring everyone together tonight, have a good time. Thank you all for everything you've done. please continue to engage in Hampshire County EMS. Everything that was started years ago with Dr. Conway and Lisa, John Garapi, as I'm looking at right now, Dr. Peter Morris is absolutely incredible, and we need all your help to continue that. So I'll stop there. Please stick around, enjoy each other's company, and thank you for all you do, and stay safe out there. Thank you, everyone.
Sarah, I got everything? We hit the list? Come on up. I'm going to add another hour to that M&M.
This is an hour of Con Ed credit, just throwing that out there. I want to thank you guys. You make my job a lot easier. And Dr. Morse, if he could be here, would say thank you to you all. I want to thank you all for what you do every day. I am so thankful for everything you do. My job is so easier every day. So thank you. You guys are amazing. The work you do, the calls I get are from accolades. They're not from problems, they're accolades. So congratulations to you all. Enjoy this night. Enjoy everything. Congratulations to you all.
So once again, on behalf of Hampshire County EMS, thank you for coming out tonight. We do need to kind of get out of here. I saw Deb and Lisa fighting over the centerpiece here, and it's getting a little late from. So enjoy the rest of the night. Thank you on behalf of Mike Rock, Chris Norris, Bob Flaherty, everybody with the Hampshire County EMS. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and we will see you next year.